This presentation is community explorations for individuals with intellectual, developmental disabilities, and visual impairments. And Steve is going to introduce himself.
How you doing? I'm Steve Jordan. I'm an orientation mobility specialist. I work with Boston Public Schools from ages 2 to 22, and I'm also the director of orientation mobility services at the Mass Association for the Blind. And then my clients range from 22 to I think my oldest is 91. So I run the full gamut of all ages students. But I just wanted to preface this, and I'm going to try and blast through these. So 4 things. 1, I'm very, very sarcastic, which you will see throughout this. 2, I love thinking out of the box. 3, I know presentations can be quite boring, so I try to do the opposite. And 4 is I love music. So I have 9 songs that I'm going to play throughout this that all pertain to the topic at hand. 1 point for the artists, and then there's 1 point if you know the song. This is all in the honor code, so you have to keep track of your own. There's 1 daily double where the points are doubled. And the winner, oh, you can only get 20 points. I've had one time where someone got more than 20 points, so I know they were cheating. But the winner gets custom bumper sticker that I came up with. So it looks like the Beatles, but if you look a little closer, it's a person with a cane, person doing human guide, and a person with a guide dog. And it says, always exploring, never lost. So without further ado, this is how it's going to start. So this is the practice round. So you have to get the song and the artist before the curtain comes up. All right, before the curtain goes, anyone know who that was? All right, so you would have 2 points right now. So that's how it's going to go throughout the presentation. So first thing I like to talk about is independence. Independence is different for everyone. I went to look it up in the dictionary, and it says the quality of state of being independent, which meant nothing to me. So I went to the next part, and I looked up independent. And that is not dependent, such as, or not subject to control by others. I didn't like that one either. So I came up something on my own. So being capable of thinking or acting for oneself, or doing something to the best of their ability. Independence differs from each individual, and what some people think independent is, or what people think it's not, is all different. So I have to be aware of that. A route down the hallway to the bathroom, or a route, or human guide, 15 feet is independence for some people. But for some people, doing a trip to Poland, all right, or taking the subway to Philadelphia, that's independence for them. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's not that, okay, this person does human guide, that doesn't count as being independent. They're all forms of independence. All right, so now I'm going to talk about functional community exploration. So we need to get people out to the community more. So no more being hidden away and being shunned by society. Those days are over. We need to get individuals out into the community. They need to go shopping. They need to go out to eat. They need to go to the corner store. They need to go to the barber shop. They need to go to the movies. They need to go to sporting events, go to the bank. They need to go to a party. You don't know how many individuals that I've worked with that have never been to a party. They need to go to the gym. Maybe they don't look like that person, but they're still being active and going to the gym. And O&Mers should be doing all these things. So is it important? So it says the Society for Asking Stupid Questions. Excuse me, is this the Society for Asking Stupid Questions? So I think we know the answer. So why is it important? It's important because individuals do things they don't normally get the chance to do. And if they're not given that opportunity, how are they going to know what they like, right? And that's how they find out their likes or dislikes. And they experience all these different things. They break up the monotony of everyday life. You don't know how many individuals who I've seen who get up, take the van to go to either school or go to a day program, sit in one room in the day program or school. Once it's done, they get back on that van, they get home, they stay in that room, and it's rinse and repeat, and that's it. But being out in the community, they get to gain confidence, self-esteem, independence. They meet new people, and they show people in the community what they can do. And there's a direct correlation between community exposure and job placement in volunteer work. And they get to use these learned techniques and skills in a functional manner and in a functional environment. So, how long is it going to take for us to realize the importance of this? All right, anybody? Yes, and the song, Blowing in the Wind. All right, so keep track of your points. All right, now I want to talk about this from a orientation mobility perspective. By the time individuals are ready for community travel, they've been working on these skills for countless hours, days. I've worked with individuals sometimes for years to get to that point. These individuals practice, practice, practice. Now, I'm going to relate this to something I believe we all should have seen by now. Has everyone seen the movie The Karate Kid? Good. If not, the door's that way. You can find your way out. So I like to relate it to this. The practice first competing, okay? So Mr. Miyagi, teaching Daniel, he wanted to learn karate. When he got there, he had to paint the fence. He has no idea why he has to paint the fence. Then the next time after he finished painting the fence, he has to sand the deck. And if you saw the movie, you know how long the deck is. And he doesn't have a belt sander or anything like that. He's going side to side, right? He has no idea why he's doing this stuff. Then Mr. Miyagi makes him wash the cars. And for some reason, he had about 20 old classic cars at his house, and he had to wax on and wax off all the cars. No idea why, right? And he got to the point where he was angry, right? Think about that with individuals that I'm working with. If they're not given the chance to get out into the community, they wonder, why am I doing these things? And they may not be able to tell you how they feel, right? But think of how you would feel. And think of, like, I coach sports as well, but think about it if you just practiced all the time and never got a chance to compete. How fun would that be? So think of how you would feel. This is how I would feel. Now, spoiler alert, he gets crane kicked in the face, right? And so that's how they feel. They want to be out in the community, right? They want to crane kick the stereotypes and myths, okay? That's what they want to do. Get ready for number 2, because I think how they feel and how they've told me that they feel like a live wire. Anybody? Talking heads, yes. Now, don't worry about the title. Psycho killer has nothing to do with me or being orientation mobility specialist. All right. So Think about all the things you do on a daily basis, right? That you don't even give two shakes about, right? Do you think those same opportunities are given to individuals with disabilities? The answer is no. And why? Lucky for you, we have closed-minded people's top 5 reasons why. And coming in hot at number 5, it's going to take way too long. So what? So what? Number 4, he or she doesn't like going out into the community. Now I ask you, is this what that person says, or is this what those people think? Number 3, he or she has way too many behaviors. Find a way. That's pretty much my motto. Number 2, he or she can't travel anywhere independently. And again, I go back to independence. What is independence? Just because they can't travel without the assistance of someone doesn't mean that's not independent. And number 1 reason, it would be much easier if I fill in the blank. I hear that all the time. Oh, it'd be much easier if I just go and get that form, or if I go do that. That stuff just, well, that's how I feel. Your idea sucks if that's what it is. Because just remember, what those people think independence is and what independence actually is are 2 different things. So number 3, we have to change and we have to do more. Anybody? Yep. Steve, yes. And song? Living for the city. All right. Yep. Yeah, it's at the very end of that song, which I didn't even know until I was with an individual I worked with who had a massive record collection. And I put his record on, and I've only heard the first 3 minutes of the song, but I was looking through the liner notes of the album. And then it had that part at the end, and they don't usually play that on the radio. And I was floored when I found it. So what happens to individuals who do not get the chance to explore? A large percentage of the individuals I work with rarely get the chance to experience community activities that are taken for granted every day. They stay inside, and that isolation becomes normalized. They don't get the chance to advocate for themselves, which is huge. Individuals become complacent, and then the world around them shrinks. There's much more to life than the walls they're surrounded by. So I can guarantee you that almost all individuals will express interest in community exploration if they are given the chance. So now that we got the stone rolling, here are some tips when you're venturing out. You need to do 2 things. 1, you need to care. You have to. 2, don't care. Now you're probably thinking, this guy is a quack, right? Which you're not far off, but care. You have to care about the individuals you're working with. You have to acknowledge their disability, but not focus on it. You have to find their strengths and their likes and what they want to do. And you have to be willing to get down and dirty. I brought this individual to, it's called Dive Hard, and it's a scuba diving practice for individuals with multiple disabilities. So we waited, it took us a while to get there. We waited, it was finally her turn. And then she says, I don't think, and that's not me, although we share the same hairstyle. But she was like, I don't think I can do this. Then she took her mask and stuff off. And she said, I'm not doing this. So 2 things could have happened. We could have packed up, went home, or I could find a way. And luckily for her, I played football in college and I tackled her into the pool. No, I'm just kidding. I made her laugh. I told her I'd go in there with her, and she went in. So now here's the don't care. Anyone know what I mean by don't care? Yes. So, like I said before, do not care about time. However much time you think it's going to take, double it and add a half hour. because that's what happens. So, and then do not care what other people do or say. People are going to say things. They're going to stare, interrupt. They're going to be nice. They're going to be mean. But that's just the way the world is. So number 4, we have to put more effort in. And remember, we are all the same. Anybody? Yep. Sly and the Family Stone. Everyday people. All right. So now that you care and don't care, what's next? Know the individual. I hope everyone knows Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, personal favorites of mine. But you have to know the individual. You have to build a rapport. I think rapport is probably the biggest thing, and it's not talked about that much, but you have to build a rapport. There's a team of people who work with it, whether the individual is in schools or if they're adults in day programs or anywhere. Find out as much information as possible, right? Find out how much stamina they have, what their physical impairments are, what their gait is, what medications they're on. Remember, a comfortable traveler, and I find this all the time, a comfortable traveler is always a better traveler. Talk with the individual. I hate when people talk over or talk to the person there or talk to the guardian or talk to staff. Talk to the individual. Find out their goals, their hobbies, their interests. And motivation is key. I mean, if you motivate me, or you talk about food, I'll do anything at all, right? But have them be involved in the process. And if they're not able to communicate, give them options. Talk with the staff team and come up with a plan of action. Now, where to go? You got to think of it as what you want to work on with the individual and think of what kind of exposure would benefit the individual. Think about what the overall goal is. And again, I say this, think outside the box. Now, once you have your destination, once it's chosen, now you're going to find out how are we getting there? How much walking is involved from the parking spot or from the drop off, wherever they're getting off, to the spot they're going? What is that terrain like? You have to know all that information. You also have to know all the information at the final destination. So that was just going to the final destination. Now it's the destination. Is it accessible? Are there stairs, elevators, escalators, ramps? What's the pedestrian traffic like? Are there restrooms? That's always key. Always make sure there's a restroom nearby. Surface changes. Will anything need to be made accessible beforehand? Because the goal is for them to be as independent as possible. All right, this one's a little different. This one is the daily double. Research, 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 right? Once you research, you'll be prepared. This one I'm going to do a little differently. I'm going to play it without the lyrics. And if anyone gets this one, gets the title of this one, I'll buy them a drink right after this. Right across the street, lovely place. You know the name of the song? Oh, I'm out of here. Holy, you're the first person who's ever gotten that. All right, me and you afterwards. Now, the reason I didn't play the lyrics to that is because I heard that song probably thousands of times before. Again, I read the liner notes to it. And then I read the liner notes and I'm like, wait a second, when the hell does he say this? So now I'm going to play it. Does anyone know the lyrics? What? No. The reason why I put the TV up there, when I played it for my mother, she said it sounded like white noise. So I'm going to play it now with the lyrics and see how much it changes. So, research, right? Research, and you find out things you don't know were there. And that was Nirvana. And you got a radio-friendly unit shifter. All right. So, I think I'm done researching. Is there anything else I should know about? Yes. So in the words of Bob Dylan, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. Now, in my previous life, I wish I was a meteorologist where I could be wrong with the weather. So I usually use the smart rock. So the rock is hot, it's sunny. If it's wet, it's raining. If it's cool, it's overcast. But you have to be prepared for the weather and have the individual prepared for the weather. Research is done, your destination is chosen, you are ready to go. Now what? Have fun. You have to have fun. Now, that guy is having a blast, and it looks like I'm having fun too, but you see, I'm not prepared for, well, I was prepared for the weather, but I gave someone my jacket. My face is actually frozen in that picture right there. It looks like I was smiling, but yeah, that's what it was. I was like, and he was happy because I was probably going my fastest, pushing him around because I was trying to stay warm. So he's flying around. He was all happy, and I'm just running as fast as I can to stay warm. So, but have fun, because no one, I mean, if you're having fun, they're having fun. No one wants to be out with Debbie Downer. So promote independence. Do not do everything for the individual. Have them open doors, have them push the chair and purchase items, tip, order, have them do all those things. And have them advocate for themselves, because it may not happen the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, but repetition breeds familiarity. Make it a positive experience. No matter what happens, they're breaking out of the norm and experiencing something different. So I've been on a lot of good trips, and I've been on a lot of bad trips. Speaking of that, I had a layover in Amsterdam, which was pretty good. I'm just kidding on that one. So some of the good trips. What do you guys think about diners or cafes around here? These are the best experiences, right? The staff is always great. You know, they get to order food. They get to do all these things. Whoop. I think I just broke something. Oh, no, there it is. Wait, where was it? Yep, okay, diners, there we go. Movie theater, musicals, another great thing, right? The audible describer headphones are terrific. People love doing them. Malls, plaza stores. This is all great because you have all these things in an indoor environment where it doesn't matter about the weather, right? So if you have a person who doesn't like traveling in the rain or the cold and things like that, you have all this stuff where you have ramps, you have stairs, you have different smells, you have stores, you have all these things that you can practice. Sports games, I've brought people to Fenway Park, I brought them to practices, hockey games, all things like that. You know, there are a lot of good things and there are some bad things. Like I brought a woman to a hockey practice and she liked it, but then with the sounds of the puck smashing against the glass, she'd put her headphones on. So those are the things I kind of learned over time. Maybe I should have researched that a little bit more. Buffets, good for me, but I don't like bringing individuals to buffets because there's no interaction with staff. People who go with them end up doing everything for them, right? Because if they're in walkers or if they're in a wheelchair or if they're using a cane, it's tough to go up there and get the food and things like that. So I don't like, I mean, I can eat my way at a buffet, but not for a lesson. Skateboard park. I want you to look at this, and I'm going to talk about this later, but think if that would be good or bad. Another great thing. Well, this is the first time that she was in the water. First time she was on a boat. But all the concepts that you do there, under, over, on top of, like you can teach all those things. Faneuil Hall. I don't know if any of you have been to Faneuil Hall, but the streets are similar to Old Town. And I found out the hard way. I was with an individual who was using a walker, and we went on a field trip with school. Once we got off the van, he started to travel. And every step, cobblestone, boom, he would stop. He started to get mad. Another step, mad. By 3 minutes in, he was swearing like a drunken sailor. And I was like, this is not good. I had to literally pick him up, put him on my shoulder, walk to a bench, and we had to sit at a bench for 45 minutes while the rest of the class was going off doing everything. So that was not a good one. But when the trips were good, I thought, yes, well, that was fun. I went home and maybe celebrated with a drink. But when they weren't so good like that one, I went home and like, I'm gonna need much more than one drink. Anybody? Yes, George Thurgood, 1 bourbon, 1 scotch, and 1 beer. All right. So, perspectives from individuals. Edie, I liked ordering myself when we went out to eat. I got to practice my English. She's not an English speaker, but that's what she got to do. She got to practice that. So, the movies were great. I saw a funny Christmas movie. I like going out places because I have fun. Caesar, I love traveling out in the community and going places. It prepared me for my job. Angela, I had a blast. I give it 2 thumbs up. She's one I brought to one of the musicals. Gordon, I love the game and I love the food. I'm just a little sad because I don't know when I'll get to do it again. And this is from a parent. That's bad contrast, by the way. My biggest fear for my son is isolation. I'm happy that he still wants to go out and do things though he can't see. He remembers how much fun he had doing certain specific things and going to certain places, and he doesn't want that to change. He wants to be part of the community. So I give props to all the O&Ms, and just know that you're making a difference. Anybody? John Lennon, yes. Working class hero. All right. So the last part, I'm going to just finish up with 2 case studies. Case study 1, an 8-year-old female student recently moved to the US from Salvador. Did not speak English. No eye report, but father indicated that she had a visual impairment, and he also stated that the doctor told him that half her brain was dead. Unsure of her cognitive level, unsure of her vision. After observations, this is, you'll find this terrific. But after observations, I assessed her vision as light perception. Like she could tell if it was bright or dark, vague shapes, pretty much just vague perception of light and dark. The doctor who checked her vision said her vision was 20, I want to say it was like 175, something around there. And I read it. I've never thought like, was I that bad? Am I that bad an O&M specialist? And then I read what it said. All it said was when they held up a cell phone, she said, "Yo veo," which is I can see. They used that to determine her visual acuity. And I was like, holy Lord. So, but many behaviors, I was right though, the doctor was not. Many behaviors began to emerge throughout the year. She had really no fear of any indoor environment, like she would run down the hallways. She was very fearful when traveling outside and around the neighborhood. But I went by the book and we started with Human Guide at school, and we started with Trail and things like that. And we started to make progress, and then enter COVID. So significant visual impairment, plus global pandemic, plus online learning, plus language barrier, plus no assistance from home. If you add all those up, not good, right? Wasn't good at all. When she came back, massive behaviors. O&M lessons were disastrous. I did not want to start the cane work because of all the behaviors she was having but I was left with little options. So I had to start cane work. So that's what I thought to myself, what the hell should I do? So thinking out of the box. What do you see here? Yeah. There's I don't know if you can't even tell because the contrast is so bad, but there's curbs in the middle. And if you see on different parts, there's ramps. I'll just talk about it a little bit. Ramps, there's curbs in the middle, open space. I mean, sharp angles and things like that. They're doing construction work across the street, so there's a lot of traffic noises, which she hates and gets scared. Very scary. What do you think happened? Well, I'll tell you. It forced her to use her cane. She was nervous about all the other environmental factors, so she trusted in her cane. And she learned why she was using it. Like trying to explain that to her, she didn't want to hear it while we were in school. But when she was outside, she was very fearful because I let her go, because if she's going to fall, she'll fall, but she has to learn these things. And she would walk, and then she would have her cane, and then she'd feel these things. And that ended up it was like a moment of clarity. So her behaviors decreased significantly. She began outdoor routes around the town. Her parents saw her travel, and their minds were blown. So case study 2, Aria. She's a 36-year-old woman, English is second language, legally blind, cane user, intellectual disabilities. She was a good cane traveler, loved O&M. I found out that she didn't get to go out much in the community. And one day we were talking about something and the movies came up. And she's like, I haven't gone to the movies since I was a kid. And she's 36. So I had an idea. I told her we were going to the movies on a Monday afternoon. I don't advocate for bringing in food to a movie theater, but sometimes you have to. But I told her we're going to go there after we got breakfast, of course, because again, I love food. So I have a Jeep too, so I picked her up. Forgot to tell her that I don't keep the top wood doors on it either. So, but I picked her up, we got breakfast, we went to the movies, and I drove her home. Did it have an effect on her? We'll have to find out. So if you guys haven't seen Back to the Future either, please leave. So fast forward a year and a half. She no longer wants to go to the movies or other trips with me. Why? Because I'm that bad, right? Well, let's find out. So in that year and a half time, she advocated for more lessons like that. She advocated for a cell phone. So we got her a cell phone. We traveled to more breakfast places where she began to speak to the waitress, because before the waitress would come over and she would say, pancakes. And it was, what? She said, pancakes. And so after we went, and then she started to order properly and she would say, pancakes, please. So little things like that. We traveled to department stores. We traveled to Petco. We went to more breakfast places because we both love food. We continue going to the movies where she learned to access the Audible to describe our headphones. She started gathering friends' phone numbers. She began calling me when she had a question or needed help with something. She advocated to eat across the street with other people that she met. She met a gentleman there while eating lunch. She now calls him on the phone whenever she wants. Her independence, self-esteem, her advocacy all increased. She began to help other people at the day program. That's why she stopped calling me. So all because she ventured out of the norm. So sometimes a little nudge is needed to open up a whole new world. Anybody? That is the Beatles. And I always put this picture in there with Yoko just to get a response from people. All right, so conclusion. The benefits can be immense, life-changing. Independence, self-esteem, and self-advocacy are all elevated. Quality of life is improved. Individuals have fun. People in the community get a chance to see amazing things that individuals can do. And it also desensitizes the community, which is huge. So remember, always encourage a sense of humor. And there are so many little things that individuals really get the chance to do. And there is nothing like a real experience. So final song. It can't start next year, next month, or next week. It has to start now. Figured I'd end it with a bang. Anybody? Oh, man, I skipped that. Yes, that's Radio Against Machine, Guerrilla Radio. So I just wanted to thank you, and I just need to know who has the most points. Anybody with 20? I don't think so. You might have got it back there, but I'm just kidding. Whoever wants one, I think I got some of these stickers up there, but I just want to thank you very much.